Alright, guys, the last thing I want to talk about is that you should spend time on what really matters rather than just working hard on what ultimately is not going to produce the best outcome for you. What do I mean by this? Well, let me tell you a story that I read on a book a few years ago. Once upon a time, there was a small town that did not have a common well where people could get water. People used to walk for 1 hour every day to the closest lake in order to get some water. One day, the village leaders got everyone together and told them that they needed 2 people that would be in charge of bringing water to the town for everyone else, and that they could charge whatever they deemed appropriate for their services. 2 people volunteered and the leaders put them in charge of getting water. The first person got 2 buckets, then he got up really early the next morning and went straight to the lake. He filled the buckets, came back and poured them into a tank. He then went back to the lake, came back with more water and started filling his tank. When the whole town started waking up, they went outside and everyone started buying water from him. He was really happy and he was making some good money. Furthermore, no one was able to find the other guy that was in charge of the water, so he had no competition and was selling the water at whichever price he wanted. This became his routine. From Monday to Friday, he would wake up really early and start carrying buckets backwards and forwards to sell the water. He was working very hard and business was good. For the next 2 months, nothing changed much. But after 2 months, the second guy came back. When he came back, he had plans to build a massive pipeline from the lake to the town that would bring 100 times more water per day than the first person. Therefore, the costs for him would be a lot cheaper. He built the pipeline and then lowered the prices a significant amount. The water was also available at any time and even on Saturdays and Sundays when the first person didn't work. The town started getting water from his pipeline and they noticed that not only was it cheaper and easier to access, but it was cleaner too. See, when the first person carried the buckets backwards and forwards, the dirt and leaves used to get into buckets, but not on the pipeline. The first person started freaking out. He bought 2 more buckets and started carrying 4 buckets every trip. He told his 2 sons to quit college and go work for him, since they would inherit the business in the future anyway. Now, the 3 of them were working really hard Monday to Sunday carrying buckets to try to keep up with the competition. They also had to lower their prices a lot, so they were making a lot less money for every bucket. And while all of this was going on, the second person was looking at expanding his pipeline to neighboring towns, since they didn't have any easy access to water either. The first person worked really hard all of his life, and the second person retired young, since his pipelines were making him money without him having to do any work. See, one of them worked really hard, and the other one worked really smart. A lot of people, myself included, fall in the trap of just working hard to do something without actually stopping to think if that is really the smartest way to do it. So whenever I'm spending too much time on something, I ask myself, am I building a pipeline or am I just carrying buckets?